WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. Flooding issues in Noxubee County are causing at least one family to evacuate their home. William Whitehead says waters from the Noxubee River are invading his backyard. Now he and his wife are packing up. Our Quentin Smith speaks with Whitehead, and Quentin, he tells you that this isn't the first time that the Macon man was forced to evacuate.
That's right, Scott. This marks the second time. The first time was just over 40 years ago. Whitehead recently bought a home and he was planning on moving into it later this year, but the recent floodwaters now has him packing up a lot sooner than expected. This isn't the backyard William Whitehead dreamed of having when he built his home more than 50 years ago. As floodwaters moved in, he knew it was time to move out.
We actually talked about it last night when we got up this morning. We saw it and we started packing then. I learned that you're not going to be able to play with floodwater. It's going to come no matter what you do. In just a few hours, everything in his home was packed up and loaded inside these trailers. Oh, it's been hectic. I have said on another issue before, it's like organized chaos. I mean, coming grabbing boxes, packing boxes. One of my wife and him, she went and got boxes and helped pack. My wife back in the back, finished packing up the bedroom so we can get it out. For Whitehead, heavy rains have always been problematic for his home. In 1979, the Noxubee River forced him and his family out of their home, leaving them with nowhere to go. I didn't know about the flood when I built. I built this house in '67. And so I did not know about the flood at that time. And nothing to do about it then. But we had bought another house, and so we at least have a place to go. Once everything is moved out, the Noxubee County man says he and his wife will move into their new house and sell the home they're leaving. We'll spend the night down there tonight. Got a few clothing. I just now realized I don't know where my clothes are, which trailer they in, but we'll find it tomorrow. Whitehead isn't the only resident on Ridge Street concerned with the flooding. Bertha Connor has lived in the neighborhood for 3 decades and is also packing up items in case floodwaters force her out of her home. I'm taking all the precautionaries that I can because this river can rise and it's all around town. It's up, so I'm just trying to get out get a few things and leave before the water get up. Now, with more rain in the forecast, Whitehead expects the inside of his house to be flooded by tomorrow morning. Volunteers with the Macon Fire Department and Calvary Baptist Church helped Whitehead and his family move out of the home today. Scott?
A lot of people worried about flooding. Thanks so much, Quentin. Well, the weather is playing havoc with class schedules in several school districts. Riley Martin traveled to Houston to find out more about what goes into making the call to change schedules when threatening weather is in the forecast.
As students at Houston Lower Elementary board the bus, Superintendent Tony Cook is checking the latest weather forecast.
A lot of rain on some of these old county roads or back roads. The water gets over the road.
That is a major concern as buses have to travel the roads full of students. Heavy rains Monday morning, along with the threat of some more rain in the evening, prompted Cook to dismiss all Houston schools early Monday afternoon and call for a later start time Tuesday morning.
So our buses are on the road at 6 o'clock. When it's dark, it's really hard for a bus driver to determine how deep water is and whether they should drive through it or not drive through it. Getting kids to and from school is probably my biggest concern. While we've got them here, we feel pretty good about the safety issues that we got under our control. Weather is not in our control.
The weather-related schedule changes may have caused a little inconvenience, but overall, parents, students, and teachers are adapting.
In the past 13 years, I cannot recall a time where it rained this much. I would like to brag on our students. Although our schedules have been interrupted, our students have came ready to learn each day, and that makes the difference. Superintendent Cook will continue monitoring the weather and will let parents, teachers, and students know of any schedule changes through social media, local media, and a district-wide alert system known as All Call.
In Houston, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
As of right now, Houston schools should be back to regular schedule for Wednesday.
We still have some rain out there on radar as we check things out here at just after 10 o'clock. You can see some showers here across the northwestern areas, fairly light, but still some rain out there. But all areas are game for a little bit of rain tonight. And between now and tomorrow night, Thursday morning, 1 to 2, maybe up to 3 inches of additional rainfall. Our forecast model coming down just a little bit there. Temperatures for the near term, mainly 40s. We will spike in most spots here, a good chunk of the area, into the low 70s tomorrow. Out ahead of this frontal boundary coming our way, and look at this thing. We'll have a line of strong to severe storms, damaging wind gusts, and heavy rain, the primary threat here. Can't rule out an isolated tornado. We'll break it all down coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, have you ever had a surprise medical bill? You open your mail and find a bill for a doctor's visit you thought was covered by insurance. It's not just frustrating, but in many cases, it's illegal in Mississippi. Courtney Ann Jackson breaks down the issues with balance billing.
When you're sick or on your way to the ER, the cost is probably the last thing on your mind, especially if you have insurance.
Insurance company will pay a network rate, which is a favorable rate to that healthcare provider, whether it's a doctor or a hospital, and they cannot balance bill you for any other charges.
But it's not always that cut and dry. Sometimes a hospital or doctor charges you the difference between the amount they charge and what your insurance pays. When you get a bill for the difference, it's called balance billing.
It's often called surprise billing.
You may have gotten a bill like this, surprised, but thought it was just the way things work. But did you know it's illegal in Mississippi and has been since 2013?
The law just says you can't balance bill. It doesn't say who's responsible for stopping it. And I became the de facto policeman to stop balance billing or surprise billing to protect folks.
The insurance commissioner's office gets a lot of calls about the issue, and they hear the horror stories.
We had air ambulances that would bill people $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 after they'd picked them up and flown them somewhere, and even taken an assignment of the insurance. And if you didn't pay it, they would run your credits.
Now they're seeking to add more enforcement powers to the law and make it easier for the commissioner's office to intervene.
If you put teeth into the bill, what happens? The providers just quit balance billing.
The bill has passed the Mississippi House and now goes to the Senate for consideration.
Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
Well, the polls are now closed in New Hampshire, and while Democrats remain split over what they want in a candidate, they know who they want in the Granite State. CBS's Skylar Henry has more from Manchester.
As the first results started to come in, Senator Bernie Sanders pulled out in front of the New Hampshire Democratic primary race.
We have an agenda that speaks to the needs of working families all across this country.
Former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg and Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar are battling it out for second place.
Hello, America. I'm Amy Klobuchar, and I will beat Donald Trump.
About half of the voters who participated in the First in the Nation primary said they waited until the last few days to decide on a candidate.
New Hampshire's are pretty diehard voters. We really care about who's in office.
Electability is a key point. Exit polls show more than 60% of voters say they prefer a nominee who can beat President Trump to those they agree with on major issues.
Senator Elizabeth Warren and former Vice President Joe Biden are well behind the pack. Biden already left the state for a rally in South Carolina.
Look, we're going to be back. We're going to be back in New Hampshire. We're going to be back there to defeat Donald Trump in November.
The Democratic field will be a little smaller going forward. Andrew Yang and Colorado Senator Michael Bennet both suspended their long shot campaigns. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Bedford, New Hampshire.
While most of the attention has been on the Democratic primary, President Trump had an opponent on the Republican ticket. Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld garnered about 12% of the GOP vote. The case of a man accused of killing 8 people, including a sheriff's deputy, is finally going to trial half a state away from the crime scene. Jury selection in the trial of Willie Corey Godbolt is in its second day in DeSoto County. Godbolt is accused of the May 2017 shooting death of Lincoln County Deputy William Durr and 7 others in a shooting spree near Brookhaven. Deputy Durr answered a call about a disturbance at the home of Godbolt's in-laws. Investigators say that Godbolt went there and argued with his estranged wife and her family over the couple's 2 children. Durr and 3 others were killed there. 2 other people were killed at a second home and 2 others killed at a third home. Godbolt has pleaded not guilty. He faces the death penalty if convicted. A grand jury indicts a woman for attempted murder after driving her car in Columbus Lake. 34-year-old Carrie Cullum was arrested in September of 2019 for the alleged incident. Columbus police say the former elementary school teacher intentionally drove her car into the water with her toddler in the back seat. By the time officers arrived, a friend had pulled Cullum and the child to safety. Her bond was set at $50,000 and a trial is set for May. 41-year-old Emmanuel Moore is accused of kidnapping a child. He was recently indicted by a Lowndes County grand jury. A state trooper stopped to help a disabled vehicle this past September, but noticed things didn't seem quite right. After questioning the child, Moore was arrested. Investigators believe the girl was kidnapped from Georgia and possibly involved in a sex trafficking ring. At the time of his arrest, Moore was out on bond for statutory rape. And a Columbus man is facing a sex crime and accused of giving another person a sexually transmitted disease. Stephen Flood was indicted by a grand jury on the charge of knowingly exposing a person to HIV. Lowndes County investigators say the victim told them that Flood never spoke of having HIV. After test results on the victim were returned, Flood was arrested this past October. His bond was set at $5,000. Now, if convicted, Flood could face up to 10 years in prison. All right, we're going to switch things over now and send it to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Keith, it's been a rainy, dreary start to the week, and sadly, it's just not over.
It's not over yet.
Not yet.
Neither is the flooding. Yeah, it will come to an end at some point. We still have some flooding here, Noxubee River at Macon. It looks like we will be in flood here through the weekend, gradually getting better and better here. The Tenn-Tom in the Columbus area up to 161.5. That's the forecast as we get into tomorrow, then descending down into the weekend. And you can see the Buttahatchee River there also getting a little bit lower by the weekend, too. We still have a chance for some strong to severe storms tomorrow. We'll talk about it.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
It is great to see you on this Tuesday evening. Still gloomy across our region. Temperatures really haven't budged. 46 the current temperature in Columbus. Northerly winds at about 7 miles per hour. As we do a little sky cam tour up in, or down in Louisville rather, 47 degrees, overcast. We've had some showers around here this evening. Just a gloomy day. Vernon 46. Winds from the north at about 6 miles per hour, and in Tupelo 45. Winds north at about 10. So we still have a little bit of rain out there, extensive cloud cover. Not too terribly heavy as this rain, but we do have some pockets of some steadier rain, Coffeyville to Oxford, and there's more building back down to the southwest. An area of low pressure will move along that frontal boundary and produce some strong to severe storms in the region tomorrow. Now, I love Stitch. Stitch the cat. Look. Right here, has great taste in television and local weather people. This was earlier this evening. Way to go, Stitch. All right, tomorrow getting ready for some showers to start out. We're in the 40s, breezy and mild, low 70s to maybe mid 70s in the afternoon, and a chance for some strong storms from late afternoon into the evening. So it's chilly now. We'll warm things up, 60s and 70s tomorrow, and then we'll come crashing back down tomorrow night behind this frontal boundary. Wind and flooding remain the main threats here tomorrow. Obviously, we have the flooding issues. Gusty wind will be the main threat with the thunderstorms tomorrow. Hail, the threat is low. The tornado threat, the threat remains in the low end of the spectrum. A line of gusty storms here. It looks like we will remain in this level 2 threat. And a line of storms is usually going to give us some wind with an outside chance at a tornado or two. But it's always wise to be prepared. And we will start our Spring Preparedness Tour at Academy Sports in Starkville this Saturday from about 10 until noon. You can get a weather radio. We'll set it up for you. We'll talk about severe weather. And we'll just be there to hang out for a couple of hours if you are curious to know what in the heck is happening with the world of weather right now. It is wet. It's been stormy. And our temperatures are all over the place. But temperatures this evening holding steady in the 40s. We'll try to nudge that rain back to the north a little bit later tonight and for tomorrow morning into the early afternoon as temperatures moderate back into the 70s here. And then sometime after 3 o'clock, it looks like we'll have a chance for that line of storms to come on through. And notice how that line actually is a line, and that usually means more wind than tornado potential. And that's good news on the overall severe weather threat, but we still have that risk. The rain showers go away tomorrow night. Temperatures crash into the 40s. We are in the 40s all day long Thursday. And then look at this. When we wake up Friday, temperatures may be down into the mid-20s with a nasty wind chill. But the trade-off here, Scott, with this colder air, Well, come sunshine. We don't even know what that is anymore, do we?
Right. No.
Sunny and 46 Friday. Baseball season begins at State and at Ole Miss. It's going to be a chilly day.
Right.
The game is at 4 o'clock. Both of those games at 4 o'clock. It will be sunny, so they will occur. No rain.
It's just going to feel good to have that sunshine, no matter how kind of chilly it is. We're going to
Everybody I've been meeting with recently out in public, they're sick of this rain.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's in a mood.
We are.
We're in a mood. Thanks so much, Keith. Well, there are new developments tonight in the nationwide search for 2 missing children. We have more on where the trail is leading when we come back.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. There are new clues in the mysterious disappearance of 2 Idaho children. Their mother and her new husband turned up recently in Hawaii, and tonight we're hearing from family members who suspect the worst. CBS's Jonathan Vigalotti reports tonight from Idaho.
Tonight, relatives are painting a dark and demented picture of Lori Vallow as investigators try to figure out what happened to her children, 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan. Tylee's aunt says Vallow's belief in doomsday scenarios changed how she felt about the kids.
Sometimes she wonders if it would be better just to put her kids in a car and go off the side of a cliff.
The children haven't been seen since September, the same month Vallow moved the family to Rexburg, Idaho, so she could be closer to Chad Daybell. He's written more than 25 books, many about the end of the world. Daybell and Vallow are now married and living in Hawaii, both of their previous spouses dying under suspicious circumstances, according to authorities. CBS News has learned Tylee's cell phone was found with her mom in Hawaii. A text message was sent from the teen's phone to a friend a month after she disappeared.
No teenager would willingly be without her phone.
JJ's grandfather now confirms Vallow stashed his grandson's favorite toys in this storage unit and got rid of his service dog.
Everything that Lori is doing runs counter to what a parent would do whose child is alive.
Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Rexburg, Idaho.
When it comes to Ole Miss and Mississippi State, it's always best to just expect the unexpected. A full recap from the wild game in Oxford next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
It's the SEC's longest played rivalry, Mississippi State and Ole Miss men's basketball. The Rebs and Dogs matching up for the first time this season and for the 261st time overall. Let's get to Oxford. The Rebels hosting round 1 of the rivalry. Kermit Davis and Ben Howland shaking hands right before the game. Keep an eye on that guy. Early in the first half, guard Nick Weatherspoon feeds it inside to forward Reggie Perry. The spin in the post for 2, and the Dogs are up 8-2. Rebels ball, guard Brian Tyree for 3. Bottoms all knotted up at 10 after an 8-0 run for Ole Miss. Midway through the first half, guard DJ Stewart misses the 3. The long rebound right to Abdul Adu. The finish with the 2-hand slam. MSU in the lead 18-13. Less than 4 minutes in the first half. Weatherspoon driving. The kick out to Stewart. Corner. Nothing but net. MSU stretches the lead to 12, up 31-18. The Rebels run the final 3 minutes. Hadim C. muscles inside for the jump hook, finishes the 32-28 5-point game. Mississippi State, 10 seconds remaining in the first half. Tyree driving, kick to guard Devontae Schuler in the corner for 3, knocks it down. A 1-point game at halftime, 34-33. In second half, welcome to the Bree and Tyree show. Tyree, the crossover on Stewart, the contact from Adu, and the finish at the rim. The Rebels pulling away from there, and thanks to number 4, the step back 3, buckets. Tyree all second half long, out shooting Mississippi State for all of their players. Ole Miss shooting lights out off the pick and roll right to the rack for the 2-hand flush. 27 second half points, Tyree's world. We were all just living in it. Tyree sets a career high 40 points as his incredible stretch continues. Ole Miss dominates Mississippi State 83-58. WCBI Sports' Tom Ebel was at the game in Oxford and joins us live from the pavilion with more. Hey, Tom.
Courtney, for the second time in 3 games, Breein Tyree sets a brand new career high in terms of points scored. The 40 points was the first time since DeAndre Burnett. The last time you'd have to look for an Ole Miss basketball player that put up 40 in a basketball game. And if we're talking about Breein Tyree, his past 3 games have been absolutely bonkers. The man is averaging 33.7 points per game, shooting 55% from the field and 52% from 3. Mississippi State got a double digits, 12 in the first half. A lot of that thanks to foul trouble from Tyree in the first half. But in the second half, the man took over the ball game. And when asked if he's ever seen a player go on a 3-game stretch like this in his very long coaching career, Kermit Davis said, Breein's one of a kind.
I don't know if I've ever had a guy like that as a guard, just go get 40. I mean, we had a guy named Giddy Potts at middle, and he led the league, led the country in 3-point field goal percentage, and he could get on runs and make 6 or 7 threes, but not at all 3 levels like that. I mean, he scored at every level. I mean, he was just at the rim, step back threes. I mean, yeah, it was. I've been coaching a long time. That's probably the best I've ever seen it.
Coming down to the end of my career here at Ole Miss, I want to be remembered here as one of the best guards to ever come here. So, you got to end right. And, I want to give the fans, my parents, everybody, my teammates, something to play for, something to cheer for.
He made some tough shots. The guy's hanging on him. The tough ones are the ones where he's driving and we're not giving enough help. I thought, when you looked early in the game, I thought we did a tremendous job defending him. But, like a veteran that he is, he just bided his time and finally got it going.
As a team that is just hanging on the bubble in terms of NCAA tournament hopes, it's an ugly loss for Mississippi State. 25-point loss to a team that was below 90 in terms of net rankings going into tonight. But the Bulldogs will have to forget this one quick as they go on the road to take on Arkansas on Saturday. As for Ole Miss, they'll look to make it a 4-game win streak in the SEC on the road against Kentucky. Reporting here inside the pavilion, Tom Ebel for WCBI Sports. Courtney, back to you.
Thank you, Tom. And Tom actually mentioned it, how critical this game is going to be for Mississippi State in terms of if they can actually break into the NCAA tournament. ESPN college basketball expert Joe Lunardi kind of predicting this week. Last week he had them as one of the last 4 in. Now they are the last 4 out. So not great news for the Bulldogs.
So crucial. All right,
yes.
Thanks, Courtney and Tom. Well, that's your forecast when we come back.
Still the risk for some strong storms tomorrow afternoon and evening, sometime between 3 and mid-evening, probably the prime window there. And then we get cold. Friday will be dry, sunny, and cold, just in time for baseball, Courtney. Ooh. So if you're venturing out for those games, you will need your winter coat because it will be chilly and breezy.
I've been keeping it ready, honestly. You never know when you might
I was about to say, you just got to keep everything on hand.
Everything, shorts, winter coat, umbrellas.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.